Welcome to this video. Actually, this is probably going to be a series of 3 videos about how to restore this D-70 that's sitting in front of me. Now, I did a video many years ago which was about this particular card, and this is the factory reset card or factory restore card depending on where you are, and this just plugs into the RAM socket on this machine like so, and then effectively you can recall the factory set from the card to the keyboard. Jobs are good and a very quick process. The problem that many of you have been emailing me and commenting on the channel about is the fact that when I bought this, which must have been 5 or 6 years ago for this particular keyboard, there were a plethora of these things on the internet being sold. Today, when I check the internet, could I find one of these? No. So that's why a lot of you have been emailing me and saying, how do you do this via SYSEX? So this is what these videos are going to be about. These videos are going to be about how to restore this keyboard via SYSEX. They're going to be 3 videos. The first video is how to back it up. The second video will be how to restore it. And the third video is about something that doesn't get restored, which is the user parameters. And I'll just do a quick video about how to reset the user parameters, because they're very useful, or I find them very useful anyway, for jumping through menus. And the second thing about the user parameters is it's another one of those that's not obvious how you do it. So therefore, these 3 videos will come together to show you how to get this thing, how to back it up, and how to restore it. This is video 1 of the sequence of 3. This video will concentrate on backing this machine up. Okay, this is the part of the video where I do channel promotion. So whiz forward past this bit if you don't want to listen to this. But if you haven't subscribed to the channel, why not? Hit the subscribe icon if you want to be notified when content like this or this or this hits the channel. You might as well hit the bell icon at the same time. Saves time, saves effort. If you like the contents of the video you're about to watch, then give it a thumbs up. It really helps that video in terms of the YouTube algorithm. Leave comments down below. I do read them, I do respond to them, and sometimes, like this particular set of videos, I'm making videos about them. This is what you've requested, so that's why I'm doing it. And finally, down here somewhere is the TMTG community. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you can support the production of videos on the channel, and I think that's a bargain. Also down there, Instagram, Facebook feeds, that's where channel notices appear if you're interested in actually following the channel. Right, now back to this particular video. Okay, for videos 1 and 2, you're going to need a couple of pieces of equipment to make this work. Obviously, you need a computer. My computer is sitting on my stand over here. This is a Windows 10 machine. I tend to use Windows 10 for SYSEX dumps because I tend to find MIDI-OX, which is only available on Windows 10, an easier program to use than the programs that come with the Mac. Personal preference, this video will be done with MIDI-OX on Windows 10. The next thing you need is one of these things. This is a MIDI interface. Okay, this is a very, very simple MIDI interface. It's the MIDI Man Anniversary Edition, MIDI Sport 2x2. It has a USB port on the back. It has 2 channels, an A and a B channel. That's the A out, the B in, and the B out. And then on this side here, we have the A in, and we have a couple of lights on there that tell me what's going on the A and the B channels. Very, very simple. Next thing you're going to need is a standard USB cable to connect your MIDI interface to your computer. And the last thing you're going to need to do this is at least one 5-pin DIN MIDI cable. Okay, there are two 5-pin DIN MIDI cables here, but you need at least one of these because obviously you're going to be transmitting data one way, so you need one for the transmit, and if you're going to do it like I'm going to do it, you need one for the receive as well. Okay, let me just move this to one side. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to plug in the MIDI cables. As I said, I've got two MIDI cables here, like so. So let me take one of these MIDI cables. So this is a standard 5-pin DIN MIDI cable, which is all knotting itself up as it does. And what I'm going to do on here is I want to use this to record from my keyboard. So I'm going to come out of the out socket on the keyboard, and I'm going to take it into the in socket on my MIDI interface. Okay, the in socket on this interface is on the front. It's actually quite good for this. And then in order to send data back to the keyboard, I'm going to plug this second cable into the in, and that all then goes into the out on the USB interface. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the USB interface into the computer, so I've got to stand up and cut my head off with this. But if I take this cable round here and plug it into the USB interface that's on the far side of my computer, and then if I plug it into this interface, I'm not sure it's going to come out, but if you can see that the lights now started to glow. So this interface takes power from the USB bus, that light comes on, and these lights here are currently doing not a lot. If I now, I don't know whether that came across, but the computer's just said it's registered the interface. And I can switch the keyboard on and it powers up. So now I'm ready to record from the keyboard to the computer or receive from the computer to the keyboard. Now we get onto the interesting bits. First thing is we need to set the keyboard up to transmit data. We do that by pressing the edit key, which is over here on the left, which brings us up into this screen. And then we want to select System Setup, which is F5, like so. Now on this screen there are a couple of things we need to change, and I don't know why, but in all the tests I've been running on this, looking back at my notes, the step I seem to have missed when I did this originally several years ago and wrote my notes down was relating to this exclusive RX option. This needs to be set to on, and you can do that either by the value wheel over there, which is on the right hand side, or the increase and decrease buttons, which are here in the center. Second thing we need to do is we need to tell it the unit number, and that needs to be set to 17, like so. Again, the fastest way to do that is with the value wheel, but you can also do it with the increase and decrease keys. That's this screen complete. We now need to go into the transmit screen, which is this one here, which is denoted by I to M, internal to MIDI, and that's accessed through the F2 key, like so. And now we're in the what are we going to send screen, and what we actually want to send is we want to send all, but let's assume we don't. First thing we need to do, irrespective of what we're sending, is change the mode, and we need to change that to dump one way. The default mode, which is dump handshake, won't be recognized by a lot of computers and other MIDI equipment. It was a specific mode, as I understand it, that Roland developed, and it was, I think, if memory serves me correctly, used with the sort of Roland hardware sequencers where you could record SYSEX dumps off to floppy disks using the sequencer, and the sequencer would send back a handshake, as in a check bit to say it had received whatever was being sent. Now most modern machines won't do that, so if it doesn't receive a handshake, the keyboard will error. So the easiest way to deal with that is to set it up as dump one way. Now we have to tell it what we want to send, so using the arrow keys to move into this menu, and if we wanted to select, I just want to send only the sounds, I could just hit highlight the sounds with the arrow key and then hit select, and as you can see, I don't know whether it's coming across on camera, but there's a little dot appearing in that box. If I want to select all, which is what I want to do in this instance, I press F3. And now I press F1. This keyboard is ready to transmit, but I'm not going to transmit just yet because we've got to set the computer up. So as I said in the preamble to this video, I'm going to use MIDI-OX for this particular backup session. And in order to set MIDI-OX up, which is up on the screen, we need to go and open the SYSEX window, which can be found under View and SYSEX as the option. As you'll notice on my screen setup, I already have the monitor set up. And if I was to press a key on the keyboard, it would register on the monitor. There you go. You can see it just registered because I just pressed a key. So we need to set up how the SYSEX is how the machine is going to receive the SYSEX. And to do that, first we have to configure it. So just move that to one side, and we need to set this up in a specific way. All machines are set up slightly different, I might add, depending on how they've implemented the MIDI, when the machine was constructed, etc, etc. Now this machine, it's quite important that you set this up in this way. This requires the low-level input buffers to be set to 512, number 17. And it needs the low-level output buffers to be set to 32 and number 17. Now that's kind of irrelevant for this particular video because we'll cover that on Restore. But note there is a significant difference in the speed between input and output. Okay. In terms of the other settings on this screen, output timing, the auto-adjust buffer delay, it does not need to be set. There needs to be set an auto delay after F7, which is the stop bit, which is 60 milliseconds. And of the other 5 options here, we're only going to have select show F0, F7, which is the start bit and the stop bit in color text, just so you can see the blocks of data being thrown through. Once you've done that, click OK, and now this is set up to receive. The next thing we need to do now is we actually need to receive the data. And we're going to do a receive manual dump, which can be found again under the SYSEX menu. And we set it up like so. And as you can see, it says it's waiting for data. Now, going back to the keyboard is ready to transmit. And in order to make it transmit, I press the Enter key. And assuming this is coming over on the video, you can see it's starting to count up in hex, or these are memory addresses that it is saving. For those who don't understand, hex is a 16-digit language used in computers, used a hell of a lot within the synthesizer industry. Okay, what you will have noticed is the screen on here flipped back to this higher level menu screen. So that indicates it's finished sending data, and if you look at your computer, you'll see that the bytes received has stopped receiving. That means the keyboard has now sent all its data to the computer. What is now left is to save it. So what we do is we go into this, click done first, and then you can see all the data, and then we go display window and we go save as, and I'm going to save that over this one, which is Roland D-70 today. Yes, I do. Close that down. That is the process of backing up this machine. The whole process took, in terms of data transmission, about 3 minutes.